This series contains graphic themes, language, and descriptions not suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised. Unless stated otherwise, all names, places, and events are wholly imaginative and fictional. Any resemblance is purely coincidental. The Trees Swallow People by Conor Matthews. Chapter 12. I was sleeping when the bangs echoing across the house finally stirred me. In the blissful, groggy sort of state when you're not yet a person, still a bag of organs that occasionally moves. I just accepted someone was at my front door without feeling the need to hurry. Before all this, perhaps I would have sprang out of bed, leaping into the air and landing on the unswept wooden floor with my bare feet and unclipped toenails. The patter of slapping soles across the floor, marching as I raced to answer the front door. But now I take my time, rising with monumental effort, a slog of sluggishness. The door hammers once more, bringing back a flicker of a nightmare I endured. I take the time needed to talk myself up enough to stand and make my way to the door, Diva trotting behind me in a sprightly dash. When I reach the door, however, she retreats, cowering, whimpering. I ask her what's wrong, but the only answer I get was the lowered stare at the silhouette behind the door's privacy window, tall, squared. I open the door to Shepherd, who was flanked by a few of his followers, including the woman who was passing out pamphlets down the village when I first came across him. His smile quickly engulfed the scowl he tried hiding as soon as the door was pulled open. Perhaps he didn't expect it to be opened so soon. I'm still not okay with how handsome he is. A refined salt and pepper professor type. Think Pierce Brosnan now, if he had a Ra's al Ghul kind of vibe. I'm not a bottom, but Jesus.
Blessings to you!
I jumped. Shepherd tempered himself with a croaky cough, clearing his throat, realizing he was louder than he meant to be with me. I imagine it's a force of habit after proselytizing all day. Besides the woman from before, I didn't recognize the others with him. They didn't seem familiar from the day I went to Shepherd's house, so for all I knew, they had been people he picked up today. I wasn't aware if he ever left Leixlip, but it wouldn't be too difficult for people from Maynooth or Lucan or Blanchardstown to have come across him, or gone to see about the weird man who talks about trees they had heard about from a friend of a friend.
Blessings to you, witness. May we come in? I wish to ask your opinion on a matter.
I scanned over the others, unsure if I was comfortable with strangers I had yet to be introduced to entering my home. But then again, I was hardly going to bounce with joy at the same prospect if I had caught their names, so I stood aside, holding the door open. Shepherd was barely a foot in the door when Diva, who had been peeking out from around the kitchen door, came hurtling out towards them, barking animatedly, lifting herself up in energetic skips. Shepherd merely smirked, going to say something, but it was the woman from the village who caught my attention as she pulled back her foot to kick Diva. I only realized what had happened next after I stood towering over her, her back to the wall, clutching her shoulder. I had rushed forward and tackled her, pressing her up against the wall. Unbalanced by myself and her suspended leg, she fell to the ground, landing on the shoulder I bounced off the wall. In that narrow hallway, I could feel all eyes on me. I wavered between the shocked embarrassment and emboldened fury. No one hurts my dog. I looked over the shepherd. I must have still been glaring because he leaned back a little from fright. I'm kind of one of those deceptively strong guys. In another life, maybe I could have been a gymnast. Shepherd's surprise was brushed aside in place of a forced smile.
Tabitha doesn't like dogs. The others can wait outside.
A few of the followers came to lift the woman, Tabitha apparently, who shook them off of her once she was on her feet. She gave me a snarling glare and retreated back through the front door with the others. I shouted at Diva to be quiet. She gave a few yips and yaps before grumbling and scurrying off back into the kitchen. She pissed in the back hall to show her displeasure. Shepherd sat down at the kitchen table as I prepared the coffee. I was expecting him to speak, but he politely waited over the grueling hum and cranking of the coffee machine hard at work, and then for me to bring over the cups, milk and sugar, and for me to take my seat across from him.
Samhain is upon us, a time of remembrance, but also of fate.
He's talking about Halloween. Samhain was the Celtic origins of it, where the end of the harvest signalled the beginning of winter and when the spirits come to visit. I didn't say anything. I waited for him to continue.
As you can imagine, the trees are linked to every fabric of the mortal world. The trees are both here and beyond. We have been showing them reverence, but I feel for this Samhain, as a sign of respect and commitment, we should do something special. Up until now, the trees have chosen those who joined them, entering their domain. Now, however, I am called to make the choice for them, but I must admit, I do not believe I can make that decision. I hear names calling out to me, but none feel fully right. I even thought maybe it should be me, a martyr for those yet received by the grace of the divine. Neither that struck me as accurate either. So, I come to you, witness, the last man, but the first to know, thou blessed to be burdened with the duty of seeing and telling. What name comes to you? Who do you think should be made whole with the trees?
The park ranger.
I have no idea why I said that, and as soon as I saw the smirk on Shepherd's face, I wished I could have sucked the words back from the air, like extracting smoke through a vent. I wished I had been struck mute and deaf, alone in a darkness of disorientating touch. The park ranger? In Catherine's Park? Shepherd watched for my reaction for a moment, before looking off to the side, searching his thoughts. What was it again? Eustace? Was it Eustace? No. Ewan. He turned back to me. That's it, isn't it? The bald one. I nodded, still dismayed by my response. My body seemed unconcerned with surprising me now with its sudden sense of independent autonomy. Shepherd seemed satisfied.
Yes, I know the very one you're talking about. Didn't take too kind to our offerings to the trees a few weeks ago. I'm not a prudish person, but I found his language a bit excessive, especially over something as trivial as grass.
That's where he draws the line? Trees he worships, but grass he considers silly? I wasn't able to ponder on this for too long, as Shepherd stood up, knocking back his coffee with a satisfied sigh.
Thank you. You have done a great deed today. I will be in touch.
And with that, he left. I tried to stop him. I tried to think of something to say or shout or do. I tackled someone for attempting to kick my dog, but I couldn't bring myself to say anything when it was a person. A dickhead, yes, but still a person all the same. Seconds later, Shepherd was gone, and I was left with a sickening feeling in my stomach that my body had betrayed me. I've heard people have felt this way when they soiled themselves in war or have become aroused in inappropriate moments. A feeling reminding us just how alien we are to ourselves. Strange, thinking nothings inside a goopy organ, inside a bony cage wrapped in swaths of fat, muscle and veins beneath a blanket of skin and hair constraints. Masters of our movements, slaves of our biology. I stood there, alone, wondering what part of me forced a suggestion from the recesses of my mind, up into my throat and stumbling through my mouth. Anger? Fear? Malice? My coffee was long cold when I was able to go about my day. It was Halloween night, technically the 1st of November, All Souls Day, when I received a message on my phone. I wasn't long gone to sleep, or at least trying to sleep. My burst of spontaneity was still playing on my mind. I was easily stirred, fully awake by the drum of the vibration and the sudden glow of the screen singeing my eyes as they shot open. I was glad for the distraction, I thought at the time, because I was growing frustrated with tossing and turning this way and that way. Even Diva, nesting between my legs, was grateful for the momentary break from this nighttime chore. I reached for my phone and read the notification. A video message from an unknown number. The sickening feeling from before had surged back into my gut, churning bile with boiling anxiety. I tried to soothe myself, telling myself I didn't know what the video was. That was a lie. As though I had gained precognition, I knew. There was no point fooling myself. I was neither stupid nor fortunate. Ordinarily, I'm sure you'd agree, a video from an unknown caller would go unread, if not outright deleted. It sounds like the kind of scam a hapless idiot or your mother would fall for. On this occasion, though, given the recent visit from Shepherd, it seemed pertinent. I should have tried going to sleep instead. I opened the message and played the video. It was dark. Huge splodges of black and dark grey pixels filled the screen. A roaring crackle and hiss gave the impression, along with the darkness, that the scene was taking place outside. The videographer, whoever they were, wrestled to keep the shaky video stable, flashing frozen instances in time, barely lit feet, a patch of dim grass, the shattered shards of moonlight through the branches. Finally, the frame rate caught up with itself, though still at difficult to parse standard definition 25 FPS. I felt like it was 2007 again. The improved quality clarified the audio. There was the persistent car shushing along the distant motorway, the cool whistle of the night air, the soft collapse of tattered grass, and something else. Something unusual. It sounded like talking, yet there were no words. None intelligible anyway. The camera panned up, revealing a submerging depth of red aura, bulbous orbs of heat, each with a blistering, overexposed center, held at the end of wood sticks high in the air by an army of shadowy minions. At the front of this crowd holding fiery torches, I could just make out the sharp figures, jagged though they were, of Shepherd, holding up his hands, staged dramatically before the shot. Raising high above him was a shaking and squirming mass, like a boil or wart, seemingly out of place with the rest of the ladder it was strapped to. The video tracked forward, getting in closer to the restrained mass. The noise got louder and a little clearer, though still indistinguishable. With the flicker of fire aiding the poor quality, enough highlights were defined for me to recognize Ewan, the park ranger, bound and gagged to a ladder, being slowly maneuvered towards the paddock of trees. I jolted out of bed, thinking I could stop them, but I quickly remembered this was a video and not a live stream. He was probably long gone now. As I watched, helpless to stop them feeding him to the trees, I finally made out what the muffled screams were. The Tree Swallow People was made possible with a generous bursary grant by Kildare County Council and studio time at Platform 4 Studios in Leixlip, County Kildare, Ireland. The studio engineer was Paul David Dowling. All music and sound effects featured in this episode are credited in the episode description and are available royalty-free at pixabay.com. They accept donations. All other rights are retained by the owners. The theme song is Forest Lullaby by Les FM.